All right, you guys. Just want to introduce. This is DJ Rob Nice, aka DJ Rage. One of the pioneers here that I feel within the Polynesian community, as not only as a popper but also a DJ. So for those of you who don't know, you better know, but also ask somebody. But there's quite a few peers out there within the hip hop community that can yeah, that have done so much, but with this gentleman here, and including his brothers, they've done a lot within the hip hop realm. So from San Francisco to Seattle to Utah, internationally, affiliated, and associated with, again, Zulu Nation, Rocksteady Crew,
Carson,
um,
California.
Carson, California, San Diego, around the world, like just like they say, Tribe Called Quest said it best. You're on a world tour with the mic in my hand. But as a DJ, as a pioneer, uh, I just want to introduce to you, and I let the man, gentleman, share, about himself. So this is a test run, but at the same time, I'm gonna post it.
Well, first off, I'm Robin Tafono is my real name, and thanks Manu, DJ Manu. He's also a Polynesian DJ, and has been doing it for many years. And we're at my home today. You know what I'm saying? And we just came together, and he was interested in interviewing me. So whatever words you have to say, I'll answer any or questions. I'll answer any questions you have, Bruce.
So at the beginning, I mean, what? Because if you could just take it back, like what initially started, what initially like captured, your attention, or what drew you to hip hop or music or DJ in essence.
Well, for me, it was my older brother Tony, and he had just built his family, and had his son and everything, and lived in Hawaiian Gardens, California. And so we was out there shooting hoops and stuff, and he showed me this one song, and I fell in love with it. And it was a song by Curtis Blow, and this was back in the '70s, and through the years, understanding where it came from, from the East Coast, New York, and I was like, wow, man, I was just blown away by this guy. He was. It seemed like he was singing, but like the words and the way he was flowing, he was actually rapping, and that was my first experience with hip hop.
Nice. All right. So gathering from then on, what or you say what was your first interest? Was it DJing, popping, the culture? Granted, I'm not going to say your age, but knowing with your experience and influence, from not saying that you're old, but from back then, you know, um, the community in itself has changed. So
Right.
again, being Samoan or Polynesian, not many people knew what or who we were coming into the culture, especially in California. And even now, knowing Carson is considered probably the second to having the most Polynesians, maybe even including New Zealand or Australia. But
Mm-hmm.
at that moment in time, there's still a lot of I guess issues of challenge within race, but at the same
Right.
time acceptance. How was that for you? Like coming into it, and then at the same time embracing hip hop, and also the culture of being Samoan and so forth.
Right. As far as embracing hip hop, I want to say it started in Carson, California. Moving from LA to Hawaiian Gardens to Wilmington and then to Carson, you know what I'm saying? living in all those places that I came from and moved to, you know, I can say the experience and understanding hip hop and what it was really all about was in Carson, California. But I was already into funk. I was already into Motown and old school stuff like that. Mary Wells and the list goes on, Temptations and stuff like that. Um, just knowing about music as since I was in diapers because my family was musically inclined. My dad was in um, when we lived in Hawaii. Um, he used to play in a band, in a Samoan band, and they would play at the Royal Hotel in Oahu and Waikiki, I believe is where it's at. And so a big name, a big entertainer came to Hawaii, and basically my dad was opening up for him. If you guys know Tom Jones, my dad used to open up for him, and they were real good friends. And when he heard my dad's band, he felt that it would be, nothing. There wouldn't be nothing better than a Polynesian band opening up for him in, a place where there's nothing but islanders and a bunch of tourists coming to, see him perform and stuff, because he's known internationally. But gave my dad's band a lot of exposure and stuff, and eventually in San Francisco, my dad quit, and so I mean, I can keep going on about that, but I can say for the most part, being musically inclined, my whole family was very musically inclined. Talking out again about anywhere from Al Green to to the greats, Mary Wells, to Connie Francis, to Poi Dog, to I mean, the list goes on with different genres of music running through our veins. You know what I'm saying? And being capable enough to understand all these other genres, except besides the funk that we got into. And Parliament, and stuff like that. And yeah, so basically I grew up with the funk, in that era. And even though I knew other genres of music, my older siblings, were, listening to different kinds of music too. So that was in our ears, along with the funk and the R&B and along with gospel music. The list goes on. So as far as hip hop's concerned, learning that during the time of being in, already in the funk and stuff, it merged to this whole new explosion of music, which was hip hop. Rap music, what they call it. But to us, it's hip hop, you know what I'm saying? And so it intervened with other groups coming out of the West Coast. You're talking about Bobby, Jimmy and the Critters, Ice-T, all these, other artists coming out from the West Coast. Ice-T pretty much broke the mold for the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that because a lot of people think, oh, he's gangster rap. No, Ice-T was hip hop before anything. And the thing about Ice-T, the way he raps and the way he's been rapping is he's hip hop. It's in his blood. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the gangster rap and the way he perceives himself from the movie Colors on down, Ice-T, if you do the knowledge of what he did in Breaking, the movie Breaking and all, even before that, he used to perform all his stuff with Bobby, Jimmy and the Critters, Kid Frost, you know what I'm saying, DJ Aladdin, all them cats were, in different areas in different parts of LA, and they were at Knott's Berry Farm performing. You know what I'm saying? So that goes in conjunction with my popping. There was a lot of poppers back then, and then you go from funk to the hip hop era, which was already a part of that. You know what I'm saying? So
So this is like what mid '70s, late '70s, going into early '80s,
we're talking about uh, late '70s.
late '70s.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that we kind of get like the correct time frame. And, some people say, okay, the funk era, and then coming into the I guess you said the gangsterism, but then at that time you still had people that are still listening to like disco breaks.
Hmm.
You had bands.
Well, you
You
got to remember, a lot of people in hip hop don't know that hip hop was out in the mid '70s.
didn't.
From the mid '70s to the late '70s on down. You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about, you know, my big brother, man. Let me give him a shout out. Grandmaster Caz, Cold Crush Brothers, Whipple Whip. You know what I'm saying? All them brothers out there, man. And, man, just much love to all them. And I want to mention that another big part of how hip hop evolved in the West Coast, you gotta shout them out when it comes to the history of hip hop as well. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about Sugar Pop, who is Afghasi, is what we say in Samoan. He's half Samoan and half, Balangi. He's half white. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say what part of that he is, but he's half Samoan and half white.
Oh wow! All
Yeah.
right.
And
So
you'll see him on Janet Jackson's videos. He's been on so many, like That's the Way Love Goes. That's him with the curly hair sitting on the stairs with Janet Jackson on That's the Way Love Goes video. Now, if you do history back with him, he goes all the way back to Electric Boogaloo, you know, and he's dancing with, Popping Pete and all them,
with
and
Skeeter Rabbit, right? Rest
Skidder
in peace.
Rabbit. Yeah, rest in peace, Skidder Rabbit.
Yeah.
And Popping Pete, and
Shout out to Poppin'
Wiggles.
Pete.
Yeah,
You should see you on Instagram, Mr. Wiggles.
yeah,
I see you on Instagram.
yeah.
Not to cut in, but
No,
I know with Poppin' Pete, as I followed, he did just a recent class with the twins. Oh no, sorry, the brothers Tone and Rich. Also from the Bay Area, from your area. But to continue, I mean, you're absolutely correct.
mhm. So I can say that that's where I'm from, but I'm born in San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Carson. You know what I'm saying? And I got so much love. I mean, everybody goes through what they're going through in life. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their ups and downs and stuff, but I show none but love to Carson, the city of Carson, because that's where most of my roots and what made me switch my life from this person to that person. A lot of people remember me as this mod. I was into mod, but they don't know that
Could you
I was a ska boy basically.
okay? Could
You
you kind of clarify for those what mod is? Again, different generation, and not too many people understood or know what mod is. Again, now you're touching on a whole other part of music and knowledge and experience in yourself.
Absolutely. Now mod is a fad. Ska is a fad. These are genres of music, but the individual that's into that music were called mods or ska boys, rude boys. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the dance hall you hear today came from. You know what I'm saying? To my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you really listen to ska or mod, which is, the Specials, the Selector, Bad Manners, Madness, General Public, all these groups come from that era. I mean, the Jam, you know, and you know, a bit of Sting too. That's from the Police. You'll hear a part of that genre of music influence in with the Police. So, yeah.
Nice.